in welcoming Mr. Coleman Ferguson.
Thanks for clapping for me, but can we get one more round of applause for our graduates right here? Everyone is here because we're proud of them. So before I get started, my name is Coleman Ferguson, and thanks for inviting me here. I used to think GED meant good enough diploma. Now I realize it really means game's not over. Because when I was 16 years old, I dropped out of high school. I never made it past the 9th grade. Not because I was dumb, not because I didn't have dreams. Life just hit me early. My parents didn't have much money, my dad was sick, and when your family is struggling, reality doesn't care about homework or attendance records. Reality cares about survival. So I went to work. My first job was at CC's Pizza, making $5.25 an hour. After that, I detailed cars at a car dealership for $8 an hour. And honestly, I felt stuck. I remember looking at adults around me thinking, is this it? Work all day, barely survive, repeat. But then something happened that changed my life. Around that time, underground poker exploded everywhere because of the World Series of Poker. Games were popping up all over town, big money games, the kind of games you see in movies like Molly's Game. And somehow I got an opportunity to become a dealer. Overnight, my life completely changed. I went from making $8 an hour to making $500, sometimes $1,000 a night. At 18 years old, I felt like that was making me a millionaire. I started dealing multiple games around town. I had cash in my pocket every night. I helped save my family from living in a hotel and moved us into an apartment. And for the first time in my life, I felt important. I was wearing expensive clothes, eating at expensive restaurants, sneaking into Atlantic City with a fake ID, living fast. I really thought I was somebody, and for 2 years I felt unstoppable. Then everything fell apart. When I was 20 years old, my dad died, and at the same time the poker world collapsed. The games started getting robbed at gunpoint, police started raiding games, poker got ruled illegal. Every game I dealt shut down, and just like that it was over. No backup plan, no savings, no diploma, no direction. I was what the kids today called cooked. And I remember sitting there realizing, hustling might make you fast money, but it doesn't build a future. So now I'm 20 years old asking myself, how do I even get a real job? And every application asks the same thing. What level of education have you completed? That question haunted me, because the truth was I had quit on myself too early. So I made a decision that changed everything. I went and got my GED. Not because it magically solved my problems, not because it suddenly life got easier, but because for the first time, I stopped running from reality and started building something real. And I never stopped dreaming. That's important. Because your situation and your vision are two different things. You can be broke and still think big. You can feel lost and still be destined for something bigger. At 22 years old, I got a job at the ABC store making $10 an hour. And for 3 years, I stocked shelves, I rang up liquor, and I lived paycheck to paycheck. But every single day, my mind was somewhere else. I knew I wanted more. I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And one day I had an idea. I noticed that everybody that came into the ABC store was asking for things the store didn't sell. Beer, wine, mixer sodas. So I thought, what if I opened a store right next door that didn't have this stuff? Only one problem. I had no money, bad credit, no investors, nothing, but I had ambition. Then one day, 2 miracles happened at once. The shop next door became available, and the owner of the shopping center walked into that ABC store shopping for liquor. I looked at him and thought, this is my shot. So I pitched him the idea right there in the aisle. He loved it. Then he asked questions that I was terrified of. What's your credit score? How much money do you have? Do you have any partners? And I'm going to be honest with you, I lied through my teeth. I told him my credit score was 750. It was really around 500. I told him my friend was my business partner and lawyer and was investing $50,000. None of that was true. He invited me to a meeting at his restaurant and told me to bring my friend. Only problem was my friend wasn't coming because he didn't exist in the deal. I was terrified, but I also knew something. Sometimes people won't believe in you unless you believe in yourself. So I showed up anyway, and somehow he looked at me and said, I love your ambition, I'll rent you the space. Now I have the opportunity, but opportunity means nothing if you don't sacrifice for it. At that moment, I had about 300 to my name. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, didn't have any money either. But I asked her, do you want to build this with me? And without hesitation, she said yes. That woman believed in me before there was anything to believe in. We both worked 2 jobs, skipped meals, invested every dollar we had into that store. We built the checkout counters ourselves, bought tiny amounts of inventory at the time. Every accountant told us this won't work. We believed anyway. The store opened with around $2,600 worth of inventory, and somehow people showed up. Then more people showed up. Every dollar we made went right back into growing the business. Within a year, we expanded next door and opened a craft beer bar. 5 years later, we opened another location in Suffolk. Then after our wedding, we opened up a wedding venue. Then we opened up Superheroes Ice Cream. And now, I'm working on the biggest thing I've ever attempted in my life. Maybe one of the biggest projects happening in this state. I'm leading the Virginia Beach Arena project with the goal of bringing an NBA or NHL team to Virginia Beach. A kid who dropped out in 9th grade, a kid with a GED, a former underground poker dealer, is now sitting in meetings about billion-dollar developments and professional sports franchises. Sometimes I stop and laugh how crazy life is. I even have my own Wikipedia page now, which is crazy when you think about it. Because I'm probably the only keynote speaker you guys will ever have whose resume includes CC's Pizza employee, underground poker dealer, ABC store clerk, and now trying to bring an NBA team to Virginia Beach. Life can get real weird when you stop being afraid to chase something bigger. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I need every single person sitting here tonight to understand something. Your beginning does not decide your ending. A GED is not the ceiling on your life. It's not a scarlet letter. It's not the end of the road. And it damn sure doesn't define your intelligence or your future. What defines your future is your mindset, your willingness to keep going when life embarrasses you, your willingness to believe in yourself before the world does, your willingness to take risks, because fear destroys more dreams than failure ever will. I'm not successful because I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm successful because I'm fearless. Nothing scares me anymore, not failure, not rejection, not starting over, not looking crazy, because I already know what rock bottom feels like. And once you've survived rock bottom, you realize something powerful. You can survive anything. That's why I need you to dream big after tonight. Not safe dreams, not realistic dreams, wild dreams, dreams people laugh at. Because sometimes the people who sound crazy in the beginning are the same people the world talks about later. So when somebody underestimates you because you got a GED, smile, because they have no idea who they're talking to yet. Congratulations, class of 2026. Now go build a life nobody saw coming.